Hey folks, welcome back to another OWTV interview. My name is Apostle, and joining me today we have Maimone joining us again back on the interview show. Maimone, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Just real quick, in case anyone, hasn't been watching NA or didn't happen to watch the last interview, can you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are.
Yeah, so I'm WMaimone from Geekay Esports. I'm their flex DPS. I've been playing for a while now. Yeah.
Awesome. So the first thing we got to ask about is the match that is on everyone's mind, your most recent match against Team Liquid. So first off, before you even went into the match, what were kind of the expectations from GK going into that?
I think expectations were pretty high. Like, we wanted to win. I think we really thought we would have won. So it was a bit disappointing. Well, it was very disappointing when we lost. But yeah, that's just how it be sometimes.
Yeah. Now, breaking it down here, let's go map by map. Starting off on Samoa, this was a pretty straightforward map from you guys. You took a quick 2-0. You seem to be handling them pretty easily. What was the key to kind of beating the Sigma comp so strongly there?
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of just, it did feel pretty easy. I think they were playing BAP and Cass mainly on that map. Compared to the next time, I guess you're going to mention it, but like the next time they played Sigma, they played Carry and something else. But I think overall we just played pretty good that map, and maybe they didn't play that good. But yeah, I think it was mainly that we just played pretty solid on Samoa.
Yeah. Now, when they brought out the Sigma comp right off the bat here, is that something that like you guys had been expecting? Because to everyone else, it was kind of a surprise. We were expecting Infected to just kind of still be sticking with the ball and everything. But did you guys kind of have the assumption that Liquid is going to swap things up against you guys?
Yeah, we heard something about the fact that they were going to play Sig, and I mean, we were like doing pretty like I think Dennis said in the last interview in Bulmers, we were doing pretty good. So those two things put together, it wasn't like too much of a surprise.
Right. So them kind of changing up their plan, moving away from the ball mirrors into something new here. Is that something that like threw you guys off at all? Or did you kind of feel maybe more confident seeing that you'd kind of shaken them a little?
Well, we hadn't practiced against Sig comp. Like, no other team was playing Sig, and obviously we weren't scrimming Liquid. But yeah, I mean, after the first map, we were like pretty confident into it, yeah.
Right. Now, on the second map of Hollywood, that started really strongly too. Their attack seemed like they were just bashing their heads against the wall for a while. Then on your attack, it felt like it was pretty smooth sailing, but they kept clutching fight after fight on the second point defense. What kind of changed there in the mid map?
Yeah, I mean, that Hollywood is gonna haunt me for a while. Like, it was so many like egregious mistakes from us as a team, individually. Just like, for example, like on our first, even on defense, like we lost a 5v3. If we'd won that, we would have like full held. Like, I think their Genji was dead, maybe their Lucio was, we were retaking, we TP'd top, we killed their Lucio, and then we killed the Genji. It was 5v3. And then Infected pins in, kills me, and I think Cuffer like walked across the point without any skills and died. Like, yeah. And then on attack, sorry, to like properly answer your question, it's just so many mistakes, and I don't know. I feel like people say it all the time, and like, to be fair, they did have some nice clutches, but like we really lost to ourselves on that map. Like, I really think if we play that map 9 or 10 times, like 9 out of 10 times we would win. And yeah, again, not to like take away from like fact, like they had some nice clutches, but I really think we should have won that map.
Do you think it was like those little mistakes in the in your defending round that kind of led to something happening there on the attacking round, or is it more disconnected?
Nah, I think we were like overall really happy with our defense. Like, it was pretty solid. Other than that one fight we shouldn't have lost to, it was just one of those things.
Was there anything Liquid might have done to like throw you guys off, or was it just really completely just coming from like those micro mistakes?
Not really, to be honest. Like, nothing that.
Nothing stood out.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious when, like, for example, one of the fights on second where 3 of the enemy were dead, and then Kuffer went to point, and then it was just their DPS alive, and then me and Dennis went to fight their DPS, and we both lost. Whereas if we just like both went point, we probably would have won. Yeah.
So like kind of looking back on, that map, there's like no real comp changes or anything that you feel need to be made. It's just kind of just polishing up your existing ideas.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like maybe, I mean, it's like a week of scrims, right? We might end up changing some comps.
Right.
But yeah, we're not blaming comps for the reason we lost that map.
Right. Now, moving over to Junkertown, here they ended up trying the Sigma again, and you guys responded with the Winston. So can you tell us a bit about what the idea is behind that matchup and what your win conditions are?
Oh my god, I actually low-key forgot about Junkertown for the most part. Yeah, I mean, Winston just has a pretty good matchup into Sigma in general. And I actually can't remember that map. Like, did they play Sim with Sig or?
They might have at the beginning. I know later became a Winston mirror and Reaper mirror for a part. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think all I can really remember about Junkertown is that we had like a really good attack. I think we capped with like 3.5 minutes, but they also ended up full capping. Yeah, I can't say too much about Junkertown, to be honest. My mind is blank. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm kind of taking a more abstract look at it then. When you're running like that Winston Reaper mirror, is that like a comp that you guys are particularly comfortable on, or?
Yeah, I would say so. I think both Kuffer and Dennis are comfortable in the heroes, and yeah, I think we're comfortable.
When you were able to force them into the mirror, did that kind of like, was that significant for you guys, seeing that you had kind of shifted them off their original game plan?
Yes and no, because in theory I feel like they are stronger at Winston comp than they are at Sigma. But the fact that they're like swapping off the comp that they had planned, it's also a good sign. So yeah, yes and no.
Now, historically, Sigma comps have been very strong on Junkertown. It enables a lot of like the spam, a lot of like these long sight lines. So when you kind of saw that they were running it again, were you still kind of feeling confident that you'd be able to take it apart? Or did you think that they'd have a better chance than they ended up having ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, I think I haven't thought about it too much, but I think Sigma is pretty good into like the comp we play when we have Wu Yang and hit scan. I think Sigma can like block our Wu Yang hit scan pretty well. But yeah, we're still like confident into it. Yeah.
Now moving on to Esperanca, this was pretty much a classic GK look for you guys at this point with the ball, Sombra, Cass, Wu Yang, Lifeweaver. Especially the Lifeweaver, that's something that is very uniquely GK. It's a comp with a lot of different parts on paper. Some things that kind of feel like they shouldn't work. You have Cass, but you also have the Sombra and the ball, who are more divey. So can you tell us a bit about like how that comp kind of comes together?
Yeah, well, as I didn't say on the other map, like when we were talking about the other maps, I said it wasn't a comp problem, but this map, maybe it was a bit of a comp problem. But yeah, in terms of the bans, I think it was Lucio and Tracer ban. And whenever they banned Lucio, we were like, all right, we're going to ban Tracer and then play Weaver. Because our theory was like, you should be able to get away with Weaver if Tracer is banned. But I think it's still just really hard when they're on Winston. Like every primal turn, it's really hard to live. Like even without Tracer on the enemy team, I think it's just pretty hard. But yeah, our thought process behind the comp and how it works is mainly just based on the bans. Like, I don't think you could ever play that comp without those bans being in play. But even then, I don't think that's a comp we're going to play again. It kind of depends, I guess. But yeah.
Now, I do want to ask about the Lifeweaver in particular, given that that is something that no other team runs. How do you feel about like kind of playing that? Is that something that like, do you guys kind of feel that it is like something that only you can do, or do you think that other teams could do it, they just maybe aren't brave enough to try it?
I think a bit of both. I think Ollie's like really good at Weaver, but it's also not like the hardest hero in the world. I think we just tried it one time, it worked, and then we stuck with it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Do you find yourself maybe playing more aggressively, or even Kuffa playing more aggressively, knowing that you kind of have pull as the get out of jail free card?
Yeah, it doesn't really change how much I play aggressively as flex DPS most of the time, but for Kuffa and the rest of the team, I guess like mainly Kuffa and our hit scan, they can like bait a lot more because you know that you have like the pull in the back pocket. And I guess for me, it also changes how I play because like if you have like a Carry or a Lucio, it changes how you play. Like Trace, well, Tracer was banned, but like it just changes how you play. It's not like I'll have like a Carry on the side with me or like anyone really helping my flank too much. So yeah, it does change how you play for me personally as well.
Now, you mentioned that ultimately them playing the Winston and stuff, they were still able to kind of like put more pressure than a Lifeweaver comp is kind of able to deal with, right? So kind of looking back at it, what do you think you needed to do differently? Is it as simple as just a comp swap, or do you think that you could have won with just changing up how you played the existing comp?
I think we definitely didn't play amazing that map. Like there were definitely a lot of mistakes. But I don't think it was as bad as Hollywood in terms of where like I don't think we had any problems with the comp we were on. Like we were happy with the matchup. It was like really just so many mistakes being made. But Esperanca, like I think there's definitely some things we would change in terms of comp and I guess playstyle. Yeah.
So you mentioned that there are some things you would change with comp. What is the comp that you think would have been able to beat them?
I'm gonna not say that going into playoffs.
No,
sorry.
Okay, valid. That's valid. So I can take that to mean though that you guys do kind of think you figured out a counter.
Yeah, I mean we got like a week of scrims to like test things. And yeah,
like if you took the run back, you're confident that you wouldn't let the same result happen.
Yeah, I mean I think that whole match in general, I really think if we took the run back, I would want to say we would win. Like,
right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Moving off to Esperanca, onto Saravasa. Final map here. What's the conversation and mood like kind of going into map 5? Are you guys nervous? Is this something you kind of expected? What's going on?
I wouldn't say we were nervous. I think we were expecting... Well, I'm trying to remember the bans. I think we banned a DPS, right? We banned... Was it Freya? I don't know if you have it up there.
You guys banned Freya. They banned Ramatra.
Yeah, I think maybe in hindsight we could have done bans differently on that map. I think I remember Admiral saying it like in our like meeting after. I think maybe if we protected like tank or even like banned Sigma, maybe it would have been good. But we were feeling like really confident into Sig, you know, because we'd won Samoa very convincingly, and Junkertown as well. They were playing Sig a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. I think I played like personally. I think I played really shit on Saravasa, which was disappointing because I think the rest of the series I was like really happy with how I played. I think I played really good. So to like play kind of shit in that last map is like it's a bummer. But yeah, I think I don't know. It's hard to say too much about it.
Yeah,
I think yeah.
Do you like how heavily are you kind of putting that responsibility on yourself versus them kind of just being able to shut you down more effectively with the Sigma and like the comps that they ended up running?
It's hard to say. I feel like I'm always pretty harsh on myself. So if I feel like I've not played as good as I want to, I'm always going to blame myself a lot. But if I'm trying to be like objective and like, yeah, I mean, I think they played well on that map, and I think maybe we like the bans could have been different, maybe, and like, yeah, maybe we could have just everyone could have played better. But I'm always going to blame myself pretty heavily, you know, like if I feel like I don't play super well.
Do you think that kind of drives you to be better as a result?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think everyone is like it at the top level, you know, to some level. Like everyone's very critical in themselves because everyone wants to be the best, and you need to be critical to improve. You know.
Now, out of curiosity, I want to kind of build off that for a second. So, obviously, being critical of yourself kind of helps you identify your mistakes, kind of grow. But one thing that we also hear a lot is how much you kind of need to have a bit of an ego and a lot of confidence, especially as a DPS player. You're taking a lot of duels. So, how do you kind of balance those two things?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think honestly, I actually sometimes I wish that I had like brain dead ego, like was always confident. I think it like you said, it is really important to be confident, especially when I'm playing my role. But it's also like you're never really going to improve if you like think it's never your fault. There's like a balance, right, with everything in life. So yeah, to be honest, I forgot what the actual like question was to answer it fully, but
Just kind of like how you manage, being able to be critical and have that ability of like self-reflection while still kind of being able to have that ego on the field and be like, oh yeah, I'm definitely better than this guy.
yeah, just like finding that balance. You just got to find that balance and try to not be too harsh on yourself while also realizing that you need to realize your mistakes to improve. Hopefully,
Is it something that is kind of like divided between practice and play? Like on game day, that's when you can go full ego, and then you save like that kind of criticalness for like your VOD reviews and the scrims and all that.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think I'm gonna be way less critical of myself, like in the middle of an official. Like in an official, like you're fully locked in. Like of course you need to make adaptations in an official, but there's not as much improvement going on compared to scrims where I mean everyone's different, but yeah, for me I agree. I think in scrims I'll be way more critical of myself, and I think just in general, right? Like people are giving feedback way more to each other, and in our team at least, like we're pretty like harsh on each other, and like our coach is pretty strict. So in scrims, I would say yeah, it's way more compared to like in a match where it's more focused.
Right. Now, that actually gives me the perfect transition to go back to talking about the Saravasa.
Yeah.
You're mentioning like kind of improving mid-series, mid-map. And it does kind of feel like that's what we saw Liquid do. They started on their Sigma comps. You guys were able to deal with them. But then by map 5, the Sigma seems to be causing you guys a lot more problems. Did you guys notice them doing anything differently? Did they change something?
Well, the big difference was that they were playing Kiri Sojourn. So I guess that would have to be the big difference I'd think about in terms of what they were doing differently. Yeah.
So it mainly just came down to them having a better comp to enable the Sigma?
I think they played better as well. I think they probably had the momentum in the series, and just overall they were playing good. Yeah.
Right. So kind of reflecting back on the series as a whole, obviously it's a tough loss, but how do you kind of feel about it personally, and what's the takeaway for GK here?
Yeah, I mean it is a tough loss, but at the end of the day, it is just regular season. It is a bit annoying that we can't get the first seed. But yeah, there's lots to take away from it. And yeah, I mean there's still many more games in left of the tournament, and like the really important games are only just about to start. So
absolutely. Yeah. Now that kind of takes us on to talking about the match that comes right before those most important games, your next matchup against Spacestation Gaming. So what are your kind of expectations as you're going into this, going up against another one of the top 3 teams?
Yeah, I'm excited for the game. They have a pretty different, like a very different style to Liquid, right? They're a lot more similar to Nightmare. Not exactly the same, but they're a lot more similar than Liquid. And yeah, I think again we're like expecting to win, but it'll be a good game. It'll be interesting. They play more of the off tank style.
Yeah. Now you're mentioning their off tank style, kind of just as a whole. They have a lot of comps and heroes that they kind of like to lean into. They have, just kind of in North America, a pretty unique style. How much are you kind of preparing to, or I should say, looking to exploit that in particular versus playing to your own strengths?
I think in general we'll mainly be playing to our own strengths and playing like the things we'll just always be playing in practice. But there will be like some differences because of the fact that they have like a different hero pool to Liquid, and yeah, just the fact that they're a different team, we will be like changing some things, but overall still sticking to our game.
Right. Now, in terms of Spacestation Gaming, their recent match was against Extinction, and they ended up going to a map 5 there, which I think caught everyone by surprise. Now, for you guys looking at that, does that like make you feel super confident that if they're going to map 5 against Extinction, they should be just walking the park for you?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it like that, maybe, but it can happen, you know? Like, I think I still do respect SSG. I still think they're a lot better than Extinction. Like, no disrespect to Extinction, but I don't know, just one of those days maybe for them. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe it'll be like the easiest 3-0 ever. But I do respect SSG. Despite that, I do think we're gonna win. Yeah.
Now, in talking with SSG, we heard that like the big thing that kind of caused them trouble was the Ramatra comps were kind of. It was a very effective way to deal with SSG's Zarya comps. And Geekay has historically had very strong Ramatra comps. So is that something that you're kind of looking at?
Yeah, I think it could be a good comp for us into Zarya. I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Now, with playoffs right around the corner, there's a pretty high chance you run into Spacestation Gaming again, kind of right off the bat. So with that in mind, how high stakes is like this next match to you guys? Are you really not overly concerned because it's regular season, or kind of like how important is it to you guys to finish above them?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's very, very, very likely that we will play SSG in the playoffs first game. So I guess in theory it doesn't really matter if we win or lose, like whatever team wins, because you know the playoffs is where it actually matters. But we still go into every game trying to win, you know. So yeah, it still really matters to us.
Now, out of curiosity, does this kind of create a scenario where you want to win, but without using kind of your full power because you want to save it for playoffs?
That's a good hypothetical. I would say no, because like I feel like everyone knows what everyone plays. Like it's like it's very small amount of time where someone like completely surprises you with what comp they play or what they do. And there's also going to be a patch before the playoffs, as far as I'm aware, which will probably change everything. So yeah, we're going to give it our all in the game for sure.
Okay. So with that being said, do you kind of have any message you want to send out to SSG, kind of get them ready for it?
Not really. I'm not good at these things.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're a respectful guy. We appreciate that. All right. Well, Maimone, that pretty much wraps up all the questions I've had for you here today. But before I let you go, do you have anything you want to shout out or any messages for the fans?
Yeah, just shout out to GK and anyone who supports me. I do appreciate it. I was really tired for this interview, so I'm sorry if it was a bit boring, but I appreciate it. It was fun.
That's okay. No, and we appreciate you, taking the time to do this after you've been grinding with the scrims and VOD review all day. It's been great to have you on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good night.
Yeah. And with that, we come to the end of the interview. Again, make sure you follow Maimone and Geekay Esports on their social pages so you can keep an eye out, especially for the next match that they're going to be in, because it promises to be a giga banger, especially with all the strats that they are going to have lined up for us. And make sure you follow OWTV on all our social pages so you can keep an eye out for more interviews just like this and find out what's going on behind the scenes of your favorite matches, teams, and players. But again, this has been Maimone joining me. I've been Apostle. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.